Peter, tell us about these talkbacks because you've actually done them throughout the country in different locations, right?
Yes, Brian and I have done a couple of them together, and they've just been so moving and so inspiring. And Ryan's really funny, so it's really fun to come to them. This came out, well, first of all, New Amsterdam, one of the things that we love about it is that we get to use a hospital genre to talk about all the social issues that we're dealing with in our society right now, whether it's climate change, gun violence, obesity in kids, you name it, we get to deal with it. And this really came out of an experience that I had on one of our early screenings.
Right now, because of COVID, I know you're not currently in production. You're trying to do your best to get there eventually, but people can still enjoy New Amsterdam in a unique way now too, right?
Yeah, Peacock. It's just launched recently, and you don't have to stumble around try and find it on Hulu or out of someone's DVD collection out of their garage. You can actually just go to Peacock and there it is. So highly recommend everybody do that. That's easy.
Yes.
I'm also selling some VHS tapes if anyone's interested. I'm not employed as an actor right now, so just as a little side cash if anybody wants to reach out.
Those are actually his personal tapes of him growing up in California. They're really quite fun.
And I just wrote New Amsterdam on it, so I'm hoping it'll look good. Yeah.
Be careful because there may actually be people who actually are going to be requesting that. Just